My favorite tool for foundation application is this wedge sponge, and before I use it I like to wet it. Once you wet the sponge, you keep squeezing out the water until it is damp and all the water is out. This also enables it to be very soft and increase in size. Now I'm comparing it side by side by a sponge that is not wet and the wet one. So you can see that it has increased, it's a bit fluffier and it's softer. Also, you could use a kabuki brush, which is a dense brush like this, to apply your foundation, but I prefer the sponge. So now for foundation matching, I'll be using this ZKL Cosmetics foundation. And in order to match, I like to check by using the neck or the chest of the person. For purpose of this video, I'll be showing you guys using the face. So I took some of the light foundation and some of the dark one and applied on a patch of her skin. Now you can see that the dark one is almost disappearing into her skin, but it's a bit dark. Even after blending, you'd see a little bit of ashiness, while the light one is obviously too light, so we can't use that. What we're going to do is mix. We are going to mix some of the dark one and some of the light one. But before anything, I like to prime my skin, of course. This is after skin prep, and I'll be showing you guys how to prep your skin before using foundation. So first off, I like to prime the nose because most people are oily on their nose area and their forehead, and I do not forget the smile lines. So after priming the face, I take some setting powder and apply it onto the places where I primed. This trick is to help your foundation last way longer than it's supposed to. Sometimes primer is good, but this method makes it last longer. So using my mixing palette, I'm going to mix more of the dark one and less of the light one, and I'm going to show you guys how it's going to look on the other side of her face. So when I blend this one out, you're going to see that it disappears into her skin, and that's the perfect shade for your skin. Then I'm going to start applying the foundation now. I'm using the brush to apply that because I don't want to waste that one. So now I use the dabbing method because while dabbing, you get the fullest coverage and you do not move your foundation around. You just blend it into the skin. You will see that it looks just like skin because you're dabbing. Rubbing it will take away your product from your face, and you're going to apply and you won't see any difference. So dabbing is the only method that I feel like gets the best coverage of your foundation. So also, because I did the brows and eyeshadow before the foundation, I have to be very careful with applying the foundation on the forehead. Also, once you're applying, you want to make sure that you blend it into the hairline. Next thing is concealer. Now I'll be using the ZKL Cosmetics in Second Skin concealer, and I was going to use the two, but I just decided to use the darker one out of the two because I do not want her face to look too extraordinarily light. So I used this medium shade of concealer, which is the darker one among the two. Now the places you highlight are the places that you want to bring out, and the places you contour are the places that you want to put shadow in. I don't know if that makes sense. If you have any questions, just ask. I just make sure to go in and highlight the places that the sun will naturally highlight even if you don't have any makeup on. So this would be your under eye, your forehead, your nose bridge, the top of your lips, which is your mustache area, your chin, and well, I think that's all. So now, same method I like to use, the dabbing method. This will give you way more coverage, and with the same sponge that you use to apply foundation, you dab up until it's well blended into the skin. Also, because of the under eye eyeshadow, you have to be very careful so as not to clean it from that part of the face. You don't want to come back there and be applying eyeshadow again. So you have to take your time, be very careful. Some part of this video is fast forwarded, but yeah, you just get the gist. Try to be very careful because you don't want to ruin your work. So after blending under the eyes, you also have to make sure to pinch your sponge in order to blend kind of closed areas, like the very close part of your under eye. And after that, I'm going to go ahead and blend the chin area and pinch the sponge and blend the nose bridge. Now, after I'm done blending the nose bridge, I'm going to go ahead and blend the forehead as well. Also, you want to be fast with your blending because once the concealer dries, it will be very difficult to move it around and your work will be very tacky. So after I'm done blending, there's a method I like to use. I don't go in directly with my setting powder. I go in with a lighter shade on my powder palette first. This just brightens up the area naturally first. After that, I go in with my setting powder. There's a method to this. The setting powder might settle into your creases and you'll be seeing lines under your eyes, but this helps it to just glide on nicely. So I'm going to go in with Early Pride setting powder. This is a Nigerian brand, and I'm going to press it. Every single thing I do is dab, even my powder, dabbing, dab, dab, dab up until it enters into your skin. And make sure to pack on powder onto your smile lines. You don't want your foundation to separate before you enjoy your day. So I make sure to dab the powder into the areas I've highlighted with concealer, and I'm going to apply it on the chin, on the cupid's bow, which is the V part of the lips, the mustache area. Some people sweat there a lot. And after that, I'm going to also apply on the forehead, just basically all the parts that I've highlighted. So after applying on the forehead, there's a way I'm going to pinch my sponge as well and apply onto the nose bridge. I'm going to make it slow-mo so you can see how I pack on the powder. Did you see that? Yeah. So I'm going to do that and apply on the nose bridge. If you notice, I only set the under eye. I did not bake. It's only the nose that is baking. Baking is essentially leaving powder on there so it can stay long and soak up the oil. Now I'm going to go in with her real powder shade and set her entire face. As you can see, I am dabbing. The only part I'm going to kind of swindle my brush would be under the chin just to blend, and the hairlines just to blend. But if you want more coverage, your best bet is to dab. Now, I'm also going to go by the sides of the nose because if you notice, I haven't applied any powder there. So I'm going to use that to kind of contour the sides of the nose. I do not like a harsh contour, but you would see the effects of contouring after I'm done. Now I'm going to use this same palette with one shade darker than her shade to contour her. Whenever you're doing a dark person's makeup, always try to highlight more because the contour wouldn't show. So when you highlight, there will be a reverse contouring effect. And if you do not know the exact place to contour the person, ask them to go like to suck in their cheekbones, and then you see where to highlight. Now there's something called reverse contouring, which I'm going to show you now. I'm using a darker setting powder to cut beneath her cheekbones to kind of make the contour pop more, because as a dark person you can't really see the contour well, but once I do this, you're going to be able to see how defined it will look. If you don't know exactly how to cut it as well, you can just see that I'm cutting from the middle part of her ear down to where her mouth area is. This takes practice, so do not worry if you don't get it the first time. So try and practice and practice and practice up until you get it. Next part is blush. Now, a lot of dark people do not like blush, but it's very flattering if you apply it the right way. So I take a fluffy blending brush. Also, I do not use the same brush for my powder, my contour, my highlight. No, those are 4 different brushes. The powder brush is the biggest. The one after the powder brush is the blush brush. So I make sure my client smiles so I can get the apples of their cheeks, and then I blush them. Now you can see that I added color beautifully. Next part is highlight. Now this is not called bronzer, please. This is not called bronzer. This is called a highlight. You're going to highlight the highest part of your cheekbones. If you don't know where that is, touch your cheekbones like I've done, and you feel the highest part of your cheekbones, and there, that's where you highlight. So that whenever you turn to this side, wherever your face hits the light, it's going to shine. That is the main aim of highlighting. So yeah, just highlight the parts where you also concealed, which is your cupid's bow, your chin area. Try not to be too heavy-handed, just be very light. You highlight your face very beautifully. So I like to use a fan brush or a very tiny blending brush to get precision. I'll also show you this with a light-skinned model, so don't worry if you don't get it now. So after that, I'm going to clean out the powder from the nose bridge. If your client is okay with it, use your finger for a precise application, but if they are not, kindly use a brush. And if you notice, I'm only applying the highlight to the tip of the nose and the bridge, no harsh line doing highlighting. Now I'm going to use the same powder shade and blend out that powder because I don't want it to leave a harsh line and I want my contour to be defined. So last step is setting spray. I'll be using my Zaron setting spray. Cover the eyes, avoid the setting spray breaking the formula of the eyeshadow. So after setting spray, I think that's about it with the skin work. I'm also going to show you guys the lipstick I'll be using for the client in the next slide, and then video ends.